Shalom. It's your brother Azariah back again with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kadash. Double honors unto the elders and apostles at Great Millstone who do rule and teach well. Peace and blessings to the sincere laborers, the brothers, pushing this truth to the four corners of the earth in righteousness and sincerity. Also to the few sincere sisters listening and learning as well. To you I say Shalom, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Barakatham, to you all. So, the U.S.-led coalition launches strike on multiple Houthi rebel targets in Yemen. Let's get into it. A U.S.-led coalition launched more than a dozen strikes on Houthi rebel targets in Yemen late Thursday. A U.S. defense official said 2 days after the Yemeni rebel force defied an ultimatum to halt its attacks on ships transiting the Red Sea with a barrage of missiles and drones. And pretty much this news came out last week that the U.S. was sending warships over to the Red Sea to deal with the Houthis holding up critical cargo passing through that region, such as oil, gas, food supplies, and things of that nature. So this is why in the Red Sea the tension was building up. But now they've actually launched a strike against the Houthis in Yemen. So this is a major escalation of what is eventually going to lead to World War III. Pretty much what's happening right now, we've been going into it since the whole Israel-Hamas thing popped off. But this is the real beginning stages of World War III. Really, you can say it started with the Russia-Ukraine conflict that popped off in early 2022. But now, see that the war is moving closer to the area of the so-called Middle East, which really is Western Asia, because this is where all the nations are going to gather together themselves, as it says in Revelation, what is that, the 12th chapter, that the kings of the East shall make their way through the river Euphrates once it's dried up to converge upon the Holy Land. So all these nations are going to gather together in the Holy Land to be judged by Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, the battle of Armageddon. So continuing on, the U.S. has said the strike by U.S. and British forces was intended to reduce the Houthis' ability to continue their campaign. The group's more than 24 strikes, which is said were a response to Israel's war on the Hamas militant group in Gaza, have hindered the movement of gas, oil, and goods services through the Bab el-Mandeb Strait and forced some carriers to divert their ships around the Cape of Good Hope in South Africa. Houthi officials reported massive explosions in the capital, Sana'a, and the provinces of Hodeidah, Sadr, and Damar, which they blamed on American Zionist British aggression against Yemen. So we see that America and the UK are joined together in this attack. They're the ones that sanctioned this go-ahead to go and bomb the Houthis to free up this supply of cargo in that Red Sea region. But notice here how it says American Zionist. So who's really behind America and the UK? Well, we know that it's the small hat. They're the ones that fund these attacks to be launched. They're the ones that fund and are behind these wars. And we know that these wars that are going on, it's really bankers' wars. It's a war between the elite powers over resources, over land, over control. This is really what these wars are about. Okay, because these nations, you know, we see right now that the BRICS nations are getting stronger, and that the current Western-led hegemony, it's weakening. So right now, you know, these wars are popping off because the West, led by the Zionists, by the small hats, they want to pretty much run the whole of the earth, but there's a resistance. You know, there's a resistance from these Eastern kings, you know, and they're rising up. You know, they're making their own power moves right now as we speak. So this is why these things are going to continue to escalate and eventually lead to a full-blown world war. So let me go to the map real quick, okay? Because you see the country of Yemen is right below Saudi Arabia. Now, Saudi Arabia, they just joined the BRICS alliance. So this is happening right in Saudi Arabia's backyard. All right. And best believe that at some point, Saudi, they're going to get involved in this thing as well. Okay. Because having that, let's just say theoretically that America was to overtake Yemen. Well, that would be against the interests of Saudi Arabia, because now America, they have influence over the Red Sea region, over the Strait of Hormuz, okay, which a lot of goods that make it to the West have to go through that strait. That's why, since this Red Sea region has been cut off, now they're having to detour around the Cape of Good Hope, which that's a longer trip. It's more expensive because you have to use more fuel, all right? And you have to, pump out more money just to transport a longer distance. So this Red Sea region here is a very important and strategic region. So, yeah, so they launched attacks on the capital here, Sana'a, okay, also at Sada in the north, all right, Damar, all right. So we see that the American and UK presence is, ramping up in this Red Sea Yemen region, all right. So we just got to keep an eye on this, but we know that eventually things are going to boil over to where, Saudi and the BRICS nations are going to get involved, you see. But continuing on with the article, quote, "This is brutal aggression," Nasser al-Din Amir, a Houthi official, told the Wall Street Journal. "They will undoubtedly pay its price, and we will not waver in our stance to support the Palestinian people regardless of the cost." So they're basically saying, listen, this American-led aggression, this American UK Zionist-led aggression is not going to go unanswered. All right. And we're willing to go the lengths at any cost, by any means necessary. We are going to hold our ground. Now, we know that Russia, all right, is a guard unto these weaker nations. OK, it tells you about that in Ezekiel 38. OK, we also know that Iran is also involved. Iran has beef with America and the NATO union. You see, so everything is lining up. The Lord is, setting up the pawns in their proper positions. Okay, because the Lord is about to checkmate all these nations, man. You see, it says the strike came with plenty of advance warning. A week ago, the U.S., Britain, and key allies issued what amounted to an ultimatum to the rebel group to cease its assaults on international shipping. So you see what this is about. Whenever the bottom line is affected, Esau, Edom, they're going to go to war with you. Make no doubt about it. See, because this is messing with the money flow. But as recently as early Thursday, Salakia, the Houthis fired an anti-ship ballistic missile that fell into the water within sight of a commercial vessel, the U.S. Central Command said. In anticipation of U.S. response, Houthi forces had transported some weapons and equipment and fortified others, and stockpiled missiles and bunkers in the densely populated city of Sana'a, a U.S. defense official and a person close to the Houthi said. In addition, an Iranian spy vessel that security officials previously said would likely be targeted for its role assisting the rebels' attacks on shipping left the Red Sea early Thursday for Bandar Abbas, according to shipping consulting firm Tanker Trackers. Okay, so yeah, man, things are heating up in the Middle East, or the so-called Middle East. You see, and if this Houthi aggression continues in that region, expect the price of oil to go up. Expect the price of food. Expect a famine. All right, because the scriptures prophesy of these things, man. Also I saw today, Russia, they're pretty much making threats to go into Poland. All right, they're making threats to go up into Poland, which then from Poland they can launch directly into NATO and the EU. So all these wars and rumors of wars right now are intensifying. All right, and this is all from the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, so let me go here to Second Ezra's chapter 16, and I'll start at 17. Woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars. Okay, all these wars popping off. What's going to happen in the South China Sea with China and Taiwan? Their elections are coming up. So that's going to be major news real soon. You have this Houthi and Iran and U.S. and UK, and then no doubt more nations are going to get involved. All right, because this is biblical prophecy going down, man. So this is the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. And notice that these wars now are popping up all over the place. All right, because in 2022, it was Russia, Ukraine, and that was pretty much like the only one. Other things were brewing, hadn't come yet. But as it says in Habakkuk 2 and 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. So it wasn't time for these other nations to get stirred up in the spirit. The Lord is now stirring up the spirit of these other nations. As it says in Psalms, why do the heathen rage and imagine a vain thing? So these nations are roused up in the spirit. They're raging. Okay, but this is because the Lord has put his spirit on them to do so. But yeah, this is the beginning of wars, and there's going to be more wars that are going to happen. And the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. All right, so these things are being sent on the earth to deal with people's wickedness, okay, because they've walked in great pride. They have disregarded the Heavenly Father's commandments. They have scoffed against the prophets. They have scoffed against the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So now these people's wickedness has come to a fulfillment. Their sins have reached unto heaven. And now the Lord is bringing that judgment. Matthew 24 and verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Like I just mentioned, even now, Russia going up into Poland and launching an attack from Poland into NATO. Okay, so you have a lot of things going on, a lot of rumors of war in the South China Sea. Things going on with North Korea and South Korea. They're projected to go to war. Turkey is about to turn on NATO. Sweden is about to join NATO. So you have a lot going on. So much going on. Is really hard to keep up with at this point. Yeah, wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Yeah, so these things must happen, but the end is not yet. Because why? We know that a full-scale world war is not going to break out until the mark of the beast is mandated. See, once the mark of the beast is mandated, World War III and the Battle of Armageddon, that's really the last major prophecy left to take place before our Lord Yahweh Shai makes his return. But the end is not yet now. But these things must happen. Verse 7, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. We are in the midst of those times. We're seeing all these things happen simultaneously. It's not a coincidence. This is a fulfillment of biblical prophecy. Verse 8, all these are the beginning of sorrows. See, so this is the beginning of sorrows. And let me jump down to verse 21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So the Lord told us, all right, that this is a time of great tribulation. This is a time of great death, wars upon the earth, pestilence, many diseases. Many people are going to drop dead and go back to the spirit world. All right, whether it be through the sword, through famine, or through disease. Okay, this is how these times are going to go. The beginning stages of Jacob's trouble. You see, Joel chapter 3, and let me get verse 12. It says, let the heathen, matter of fact, let me start at 11. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. So yeah, all these heathen nations, all these, whether it be Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, India. See, all these BRICS allied nations, and also the Western allied nations, they're all being wakened. They're all being roused up in the spirit. You see, to gather themselves together round about. Let's read on. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, or in the ancient Hebrew, Yahweh Shaphat. All right. Otherwise, that means the Lord's judgment, or Yahweh's judgment. All right. Because this is where all the heathen, they are going to be judged. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. 13. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full, the fast overflow, for their wickedness is great. So these nations' wickedness has reached unto heaven. Okay, this is the time for their sins to be visited, for their wickedness to be visited. Well, not sin, because the other nations really can't sin, but they perform wickedness. All right. The only nation of people that are able to sin are the Israelites, because according to the scriptures, sin is what? Transgression of the law. So the other nations, they're not capable of sinning because they were never given a law, but they are great in their wickedness. All right. Especially the nation of Esau, Edom. All right. Verse 14, multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. All right. So, hey, the day of the Lord is near, man. And, all these things are happening to deliver the Lord's people for the controversy of Zion. See, this is why all these wars are going on. This is why people are losing their minds. This is why wickedness is increasing within the earth. Okay, because this is the end of this age. 2 Ezra 6:9 says what? For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it. So right now, Esau, Edom, he rules over the planet Earth. But in a very short time, he's not going to rule over the planet Earth, right? He's going to be brought down. He's going to be abased, and he's going to go in chains and slavery. All right. All these nations are going to slavery, man. But before the Lord take them down, he's going to make them war against one another to destroy themselves. Then in the midst of the great war, the battle of Armageddon, Yahushai and the host of heaven, the angels, they're going to return and they're going to deliver the elect. All right. And they're going to destroy these nations. All right. So with that, hopefully this lesson was edifying and informative through Rakakadash. In closing, call Allah, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bashem Rakakadash. And until next time, Lord willing, Shalom to the elect.